And one of the things that's come across in the regional briefings that we ran with reps is that there's a whole range of local activity that local branches, in some cases unions, are doing at a workplace level, which complements all the stuff that we would expect our reps to be doing about preventing redundancies, about tackling redundancies, making sure the process is fair, protecting terms and conditions. All that bread and butter trade union work being complemented with a whole range of other stuff, which is about sort of running sessions in the workplace about managing your finances, bringing people in to talk about benefits and tax credits, running career counselling sessions, a whole range of different activity taking place, lots and lots of different workplaces, some of it organised by unions regionally or nationally, but a lot of it just initiated at a local level. And I think a whole range of projects which suggest that unions are thinking imaginatively about how we support our members and non-members through the current recession. So what further support the reps need? I'm going to finish on this because I think one of the things we said to the reps when we ran the briefings over the last 8 weeks is that we're going to try and collate as much information and possible feedback from the sessions and then take that to our General Council in April and think about the package of support that we offer, both from the TUC and from individual unions, and think about how we build on and improve that package of support. So I think key messages coming through. First of all, a lot of reps just talking about some basic bread and butter issues, the things about redundancy, about dealing with an employer that wants to introduce short-time working or to reduce pay. And a sense of two, I think, clear messages coming through. One is that there is a layer of full-time officers and organisers for whom these issues, and certainly issues on this scale, are almost completely new and we haven't dealt with. I mean, colleagues who've been in manufacturing or engineering will be familiar with some of this territory over the last 10 years. But for a new layer of full-time officials, actually dealing with collective redundancy situations, providing support to members when they're already being pulled from pillar to post, it's difficult. So putting that information and support into the hands of organisers, but also into the hands of local reps. And one of the things we're going to be producing in April with Labour Research is a guide to organising and bargaining in the downturn for full-time officers and organisers. The other issue that came across very clearly in virtually all of the workshops that we held is reps just not knowing whether their employer is genuinely in problems and has got genuine difficulties, or the employer is trying it on. And a sense that lots of employers are talking about lots of changes in workplaces that have got very little to do with the recession, and helping reps to understand the real state of the company and the real picture behind the company's finances, and think about how we can equip reps to do that. And I was speaking to Jim before, I know that Balper developed something, TSSA has developed a training program in conjunction with some trade union accountants around understanding company accounts and thinking about that sort of support and how we can build on it. Second thing that came across in the briefings was that there are a whole range of issues where, again, we would expect reps to be able to hopefully signpost members towards sources of advice and support, but we wouldn't want reps to be experts or to set themselves up as experts. We're not independent financial advisors, they're not expert debt counsellors or people who are skilled to offer that sort of advice, but who are the local agencies and organisations they can trust to provide that support and information to their members. And we've made a fair stab at pulling together some of that information in the booklet you've got in front of you, but it's quite clear that in the local organisations that provide this advice and support vary from area to area, region to region. In some areas, Citizens Advice Bureau have got capacity, you can see people quickly. In some areas, referring a member to a Citizens Advice Bureau means just putting them onto a waiting list for 4 or 5 weeks while they get an appointment. So who are the local agencies and organisations that we can build relationships with to help provide this advice and support? And one of the things that came through in the briefings is the value of unions pooling that information at a local and regional level. So if you're in Sheffield, who are the organisations you would work with in Sheffield? And is it worthwhile the GMB and Unite and the regional TC all pulling together different sources of advice and support, or is there value in unions pooling that? Third thing that came across is the importance of union officers and organisers knowing what support is available regionally. So if there are funds through the Learning and Skills Council, through the regional development agencies, through local skills partnerships, how can union officers access those? How can they make sure employers know about those sources of support as well? Quite often employers not accessing that support because they don't know it's there, and the role that the union can play, making sure that people do know that support is available regionally. A job there, I think, particularly for the regional TUCs. Issues just about providing simple fact sheets to members about the issues that matter to them in the workplace, and just whether it is about advice on dealing with debt, whether it is on advice on doing consumer advice about access to skills and training. Again, just something that we can put in members' hands which picks up those sorts of issues. One issue that came across very clearly in a number of the workshops was about credit unions, and different unions having different experiences of credit unions. but I think a sense of, you know, is this an idea whose time has come? And I know different unions have experimented with credit unions nationally, unions have set up credit unions locally, a sense that actually that might be part of a solution in providing support to particularly low-paid members. And then finally, just a point about better sharing of information and experience more generally, whether we do that online, whether we do that through local briefings, through the regional TUCs, a sense that in many areas where this would have been picked up by an organisation like a trades council, and trades councils don't exist, how do we facilitate union reps talking to each other about the issues and the problems that they face? The final point that I think came out of the workshops, and believe me, I'm not putting this words into people's mouths, was actually a very positive point, which was about this is now the time to make the case for trade unions. And I think in a situation where we're potentially seeing another 1 million people being made unemployed and 75,000 homes being repossessed, it's pretty crass to talk about an opportunity. But not so much an opportunity as it, but now's the time to go out and use, in the current situation, and make the case for unions to non-members, to engage our members and to raise the profile of trade unions and demonstrate the difference that unions make. And I think that's maybe the link between the macro picture that we were talking about this morning, the big picture stuff about thinking about, you know, we don't want to just fix this to go back to the same sort of problems all over again, but make the point that actually trade unions and trade unionism can be part of the solution in this crisis, and it's now our opportunity to go out and engage non-members and talk to them about the value that unions bring to workplaces and to working life. Thanks.